Most Reverend Excellency Lawrence Prosecco, Chairman Nicastro and Board of Trustees, President Victor, Provost Roberts, faculty, families and friends, and graduates, you all look so beautiful. Someone has a mortarboard that says I'm brilliant, and I believe it. The scientist Sir Isaac Newton said, "If I see farther than those around me, it is because I have stood on the shoulders of giants." Today you stand on the shoulders of giants, your families and friends who are here with you, those who are not here today and may be far away, and those who are in heaven. And happy Mother's Day to all the moms and grandmothers. Yay, happy Mother's Day. Yes. Yay, moms. I believe the one characteristic that best qualifies me to be here today is I am a hometown girl. I grew up in Mill Creek, graduated from McDowell, and spent summers scooping ice cream at the mall and working at McDonald's on Peninsula Drive. I would be remiss if I were here and did not recognize my own family. My immigrant grandparents who toiled in the deep, dark coal mines of West Virginia and in the olive orchards of southern Italy under the unforgiving sun. And in particular, my devoted and generous parents, Arthur and Mary, who loved my brother and me ferociously. I would not have the privilege to be before you today but for their sacrifices. I stand on their shoulders. Standing behind a large podium like this reminds me of a time when I was CEO of a charity for abused, abandoned, and homeless children. A very generous donor who did not live in our city called to tell me he was leaving his entire estate to the kids. I asked if I could visit him and take him out to dinner as an expression of our gratitude. He agreed. I took a plane, got a rental car, punched in Google Maps, and drove to his home. When this incredibly tall man answered the door, he looked me up and he looked me down without saying a word. I'm starting to think I have food on my face or my dress got really wrinkled from the trip. And just as I was feeling a bit awkward, he bellowed in his big, gruff voice, "You sounded taller on the phone." So I hope you're thinking the same thing and everyone can see me up here. As your commencement speaker behind this large podium, it is my duty to impart wise advice as you get ready to launch. To help me with that, I went straight to the experts and interviewed a number of students in the graduating class today. Thank you again for your time and your candid comments. I heard two consistent themes from the interviews. The first and overwhelming theme was Hearst is home. I heard repeatedly, Mercyhurst is not just a school, it's a family. And there is something about driving through those majestic front gates, which students told me never gets old. One said, even before I was admitted, driving through the gates, I knew Mercyhurst was the place for me. Another student told me how much she loves the school, but she had a much more practical outlook. She said, I don't have a job yet, but I know I'm moving to a place with better weather. The second consistent theme, carpe diem, the Latin phrase, seize the day. Students shared how they seized numerous opportunities that they didn't even know existed before coming to Mercyhurst. Opportunities that helped them grow personally and professionally, helped them gain more confidence, and help make the world a better place. How do you carry carpe diem with you when you exit through those gates this week. Here's how. Remember where you come from. Author and New York Times columnist David Brooks recently wrote a new book entitled The Second Mountain. In it, he describes how the first mountain is focused on career and external successes, making your mark, getting a good job, becoming financially secure. And as new graduates, that's likely the mountain you are focused on climbing. That's what I did when I graduated. Mr. Brooks writes that sometimes when you get to the top of the mountain, there is an interruption that moves you sideways. In a flash, all of those external successes you've achieved don't seem so important anymore. I had my interruption 1 year ago when the phone call came. The one you never expect to get. The one someone else always gets. The doctor on the other end of the line told me I had a brain tumor. I now realize that brain tumor may be one of the best things that ever happened to me. All of a sudden, me, little Miss Independent, me, no thanks, I can do this by myself, suddenly asked for help. I rallied family and friends, and I activated the coast-to-coast girlfriend posse. I accepted that suddenly I was now completely dependent on others. I felt so vulnerable, but in that vulnerability, I found strength. My surgery was a success. I'm healed, I'm fine, my hair has all grown back. But I decided I no longer want to be on an airplane 45 weeks a year, going to far-flung places. The world looks different now. It is a kaleidoscope of bright colors and sounds. Nothing, especially time, is taken for granted anymore. And the long-standing bonds with those who are at my bedside are even stronger. I'm climbing the second mountain, the taller one that breeds internal successes. Successes such as interdependence and joy and greater purpose. But I view the geography of Mr. Brooks differently. Rather than being on either the first mountain or the second mountain, I envision a bridge. And it is that bridge that creates the elegance of fulfillment, where you build not only a career, but you build a life. That balance, and expect it to be ongoing, between the external and internal successes, that balance will continue to shape you as you leave for graduate school, or a job, or even if you're still trying to figure out your direction. As you stand on that bridge between the mountains, here are 3 essential skills to help you navigate that balance for personal and professional success. They are adaptability, resilience, and gratitude. The first is adaptability. Let's face it, up till now for most of you, life has been pretty predictable. Tomorrow, things get a little less certain. You're losing the safety net of the campus. You'll be forced to adapt to changing dynamics, such as where and how you make a living, with whom you will choose to spend your time, and to where you lay your head down at night. Regardless of the industry you choose to join, the landscape is complex and changing rapidly. Disruption is the new norm. Think about how Netflix has disrupted the movie industry, how Uber and Lyft have disrupted the taxi industry, and how Amazon has disrupted, well, everything. Research shows that employees who adapt, to rapidly changing environments with agility and manage changing circumstances are those employees who remain most relevant in turbulent times. I'm not saying it's easy to do. I'm saying it's essential to do. At the same time, you will encounter a broad new world of colleagues. Even more people may not look like you, or think like you, or come from where you come from. Grab this as an incredible opportunity to expand your relationships, your interests, and your ideas. When these new encounters happen, please be sensitive to people who may be excluded. Most of us remember a time when we were deliberately excluded. I remember being othered. I remember asking my parents, what's wrong with me? I'm disappointed to report that being othered continues into adulthood. And as I learned, so does bullying. I had a boss who regularly and frequently demeaned me in front of clients and my colleagues. I changed jobs. So as you leave, carry the virtues reinforced on this campus of mercy and tolerance to your next endeavor and the one after that and the one after that. Remember where you come from. The second skill is resilience. Why do you need resilience? Because you will fail. One student, and you know who you are, requested I talk about my failures and what I learned from them. Fully meeting this request would require, I believe, a 3 or probably more appropriately 4-credit course rather than a commencement speech. But let me share a few failures that may happen to you. You may be downsized. You may be unemployed. And as you become more successful, some people will not like you. They may even do everything they can to take you down. I have been through these and much more. I'm still standing, and so will you. These types of experiences teach you resilience. They make you stronger, although in the moment you don't feel very strong and you don't appreciate that lesson. It comes over time because it just feels pretty awful at the time. I learned to take a step back and take some time for self-reflection. What might I have done differently? I learned not to let people define me. And I learned to turn negativity into rocket fuel. When I was coming up through the ranks of management consulting, I was leading a large international project. The partner on the engagement stopped me in the hallway one day, looked me straight in the eye and said, "Christine, you don't have a strategic bone in your body." Now, this was a problem because we were a strategy consulting firm. Yeah, indeed. I turned his negative comment into rocket fuel. Rather than fall apart, I got angry. And I committed myself to proving him 150% wrong. At some point in your career, someone is likely to say the same thing to you. And when they do, I encourage you to turn it into rocket fuel. And oh, just for the record, I was made partner in 3 years. And the third skill is gratitude. In this world of selfies, we need to take extra care to be grateful, to turn the camera lenses of our smartphones outward. In freshman year, the speaker told you that you are living you're living the dream of 95% of the world. As you live that dream, I ask you to see the people, the hard-working men and women who work while we are sleeping, the invisibles, those people who mop the classroom floors and take out our trash, those people who clean our office buildings and restrooms, those people who do jobs most of us have chosen not to do. Acknowledge them. Be grateful for how they make our lives better. And through that gratitude, recognize the dignity of all people and the dignity of work as embedded in this university's mission statement. It doesn't make a difference where anyone is placed in the hierarchy on the organizational chart. But simply saying thank you is not enough. Gratitude demands action. Service is that action. The late Dr. Martin Luther King said, "Not everybody can be famous, but everybody can be great, because greatness is determined by service." I want to share a little story about the impact one person can have through community service. In addition to Carpe Diem on the Mercyhurst logo is the year 1926, the year the Sisters of Mercy established Mercyhurst University. 1926 is also the year my mother was born, and how fitting to be speaking of her on Mother's Day. My mom's in heaven, and she thinks you look beautiful too. She's looking down. Mom was a 25-year volunteer at St. Vincent Hospital where my brother and I were born. In the 1960s, she and members of the Ladies Auxiliary wanted to help with holiday fundraising. So they decided they would make one Christmas tree, auction it, and have the proceeds go to the hospital. My very artistic mother made that tree. Fast forward to today. Mom's little tree sparked an evolution that over the years has grown into the Festival of Trees celebration. Some of you may have attended, and if you haven't, it's a wonderful family event, and I would suggest going on the day that the reindeer are there, because I think that's the most fun. The first event was held in the hospital lobby. It's now held at the Bayfront Convention Center. Every year it welcomes 10,000 visitors to view nearly 100 trees, and this past year it raised $130,000 for the hospital. Mom's service to the hospital started a community movement that continues to this day. Or as Joy, a smart and talented 12-year-old, told me at the inner city neighborhood art house this week, "Your mom planted a tree and grew a forest." The poet Maya Angelou said, "People will forget what you said. People will forget what you did, but they will never forget how you made them feel." Carry forward that spirit for and commitment to service as you exit the gates. Remember where you come from. And one more thing about gratitude. Maybe it's the Mill Creek in me, or maybe now I sound like your mother. Please purchase proper stationery and write thank you notes. Yes, applause for that. You notice the moms started that round of applause over here. Yay, Mom! Yes, please write thank you notes by hand in ink. I understand it's more convenient to send an email or to send a text message with little dancing emojis. But believe me, your note will be an unexpected gift in someone's U.S. Postal Service mailbox. you will make the recipient feel extraordinarily special. I would like to express my own gratitude to all of you for the privilege of being part of this milestone moment and for the very warm welcome home. Your families and the Mercyhurst faculty and staff have given you a tremendous head start. They will always be here for you, and those beautiful gates will always be open to welcome you home. I can hear them repeating the sound advice of Sister Catherine Macaulay, who founded the Sisters of Mercy nearly 200 years ago. Be good today, she advised, but be even better tomorrow. Carpe diem, class of 2019. Go Lakers, and congratulations.